Going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam. I hope everyone out there tonight is doing phenomenal. Hope you guys are having a great Friday night, and I hope you guys are ready for another live 2024 fantasy football mock draft with you guys with the Catch fam. We've got Pete in the house tonight. What's up, Pete?
Not much, just chilling on this Friday. It's draft season. I've been grinding this week trying to get ready for my mock draft coming out tomorrow. But let's do another mock draft, fantasy style.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we are like really getting into football time of year. And I feel like this off season always goes by fast, but this off season specifically is absolutely flying by. So that's what we want, though. We want football. We want it as soon as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and get out the notifications to everyone, and we're going to start this thing. All right, let's see here. I have no idea what I'm doing for tonight's mock, but I'm excited.
Quarterback, first round. Right? Quarterback at the 1-5. I heard that's your strategy tonight.
So let's see who's in the house. We got Emil. What's going on? Ghost Hunter. Cats. What's going on, everybody? Taylor, what's up, man? Less than a week away from draft day. Let's go. So I do want to talk a bit. We're probably going to stream tomorrow as well, but of course, want to talk about, I don't know, the draft, what we're expecting in terms of, it's just kind of like every year. From a fantasy perspective, I kind of hate this time of year for the draft because it's like, obviously there's a lot that goes into being knowledgeable, like and being prepared for the coming rookie class. But before we have our actual landing spots, it's just so much more difficult.
You just don't know. You just don't know because it's make it or break it. Like, is Puka Nacua anything if he isn't drafted by the Rams last year? I mean, like there's a handful of teams. If he ends up in New England, he's a nobody. He is a nobody.
I mean, Mac Jones is kind of my guy still. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you're on. It makes sense. Him and Trevor Lawrence, perfect for you.
But obviously with dynasty leagues getting so much more popular, right? It's like obviously we want to be as prepared for the coming class as possible, right? But it's like, and I've always been like transparent about this with the community and everything. It's like I always struggle with like the draft class literally before the actual draft happens. And I mean, like a good example last year is like I really, really liked Devon Achane before the NFL draft, but I consistently brought up like if he doesn't land in the right place, I don't know how much he was like my RB3, like rookie RB3 going into the draft. But I definitely emphasize like if he doesn't go to the right spot, like I don't really like him. But then when he went to the Dolphins, I was like, yeah, he is definitely my rookie RB3. And even with that, like a lot of people are like, well, I still don't like Devon Achane because he's probably going to be prone to injury. And that's what happened. But he still put up insane numbers when he played, right? So it's like, I don't know. We can talk about rookie landing spots and everything, of course. And chat, let us know in particular what rookies you guys are eyeing, like maybe outside the first round, but first round is fine too. And maybe like who you guys are specifically looking forward to in terms of landing spots as we get closer to the draft, because Emil's saying this might be the best NFL draft ever.
It's not loaded. That deep. It's not deep though. After the first 50 picks, so like the top end is stacked. Like the top 50, you want to have picks in the top 50, but the back end of the draft is trash. Like there's a big fall off rounds like 5, 6, 7. You're not going to see those guys where it feels like every year one or two guys kind of pop up out of nowhere that are not a high draft pick. It's not good, but the top 50 is stacked. Like we're talking, I mean, the wide receiver class in particular, I think there's like 5 or 6 dudes that probably would have went first out of the wide receivers last year coming up. And one of them is getting screwed because I'm pretty sure the Giants are going to draft one of those guys.
Yeah, and like I think that's why this draft feels like it holds the magnitude that it potentially does, is because you have, let's say, at least 5 quarterbacks that can probably go
Mhm.
in the first round, and then you have a really loaded wide receiver class, and we're kind of like, especially from a dynasty perspective, at least for most dynasty drafters, like, we're really attuned now to quarterbacks and wide receivers being the most important positions. So in terms of fantasy, we're like, we're really locked in, right? And you kind of start to not think about, for most leagues at least, defensive players, offensive linemen, and even running backs to a degree as well. And but then we have like a stud tight end in this draft class too, and there are a fair amount of good running backs, which is actually like the next question I want to ask you is kind of like, how do you feel about this year's running back class and who stands out to you?
I don't think it's nowhere near last year's running back class, obviously, since we had 2 guys go as high as they did, and they were both, I mean, Bijan let down a little bit, but that wasn't his fault, and Jahmyr Gibbs was a
Yeah,
stud fantasy-wise. I think it's an okay running back class. I think there's really good value in the third, guys you can scoop up in
yeah,
the second and third round. We're not gonna see a running back taken in the first round. I'm a big fan of Blake Corum out of Michigan. He is just a grinder, and he has a nose for the end zone. Like, he just finds himself into the end zone. You put him in with the right power run scheme. Obviously, people were like, well, could the Chargers go and draft him in the second round, go right back into the Harbaugh system? That's a good fit. So that's probably the running back I'm the highest on, but it really just depends who finds a good landing spot, who's a good fit for somebody. Could I don't know. I'm trying to think of, could LA find the next like somebody to run number 2 to Kyron Williams
sure.
again later in the draft, and it's a guy who's really good, or maybe Detroit wants to get another younger back, and you kind of move on from the two-headed monster they had last year, and they roll with a little bit of youth, or even even my Vikings, but I don't think they would go that direction. But if you find a guy who fits that zone run scheme, it's gonna pay huge dividends.
Yeah, I like Blake Corum a lot as well, and really a really popular. I think you could argue one of the more popular names in terms of rookie running backs. Definitely an easy profile guy to like, right? But also I like Trey Benson a lot, who is
Hmm.
kind of being mocked a little bit later. Um, but I feel like those are two, like, just the most popular names in terms of running backs. And I agree, it's a okay running back class. And I do think there's definitely value, like you said, past the first round or two. So we'll kind of see. We've talked a little bit about the upcoming quarterback class already, and I don't really feel like much has changed there since we last talked. So I mean, I still think that most people would agree we're going to see. I mean, I don't know. When you look around mock drafts right now, things are. It's that time of year where it's like if you put out a typical mock draft, it's just not entertaining or exciting. So like you're getting a lot of like mock drafts with trades, or maybe like not what you're
Hmm.
used to seeing, and different stuff being switched up towards the beginning. But for the most part, I think we're just gonna see a couple quarterbacks taking the first. I don't know. Like I saw today on NFL Network, like the Patriots are open to trading their selection, and it's like, who
I hope.
knows?
I hope they're open to trading their selection at number 3. I sure as hell hope. Um, we could see 6 quarterbacks. I think I have 5 in my mock, but
Yeah.
I think 6 is a real possibility, especially if the Patriots stay pat at 3. No pun intended. We'll see quarterbacks go 1 through 3, and then if Minnesota doesn't trade up, you could see a quarterback at 6 to the Giants and JJ McCarthy. And
Mhm.
then you're looking at Minnesota, Vegas, Denver for Penix and Bo Nix. And I think if 4 quarterbacks go in the top 6, and those 3 teams haven't had one yet, you're going to see both those guys go. So we could be looking at 6 first round quarterbacks.
And Emil asked in the chat thoughts on Michael Penix.
He is my favorite of the next tier of guys. So it's
Okay.
clearly Caleb. Then I have Jaden Daniels and Drake May in a tier together. Then it's JJ McCarthy, kind of, but he doesn't really do anything elite, but he has the Tom Brady factor, which is like not an insignificant thing. You need a guy who kind of just plays big in big spots. Penix would be higher if he was a little bit younger and
Yeah, that's the main
he's had
thing.
2 major knee injuries.
Yeah.
But he's got an elite NFL arm. I definitely want him over Bo Nix. We're
Okay.
getting, talk that we might take Bo Nix, and I was like, gag me. I would much rather have Michael Penix. He's an elite thrower of the football, not super mobile. He does worry me a little bit. He didn't grade great when he was under pressure and out of the pocket. So kind of what you have to do in today's NFL, but I'm high on Penix. I definitely think he's worth a first round pick in the 20s.
Yeah, he's been linked to the Steelers in a lot of mocks.
You can't have 3. Pittsburgh cannot be taken. They can't have 3 quarterbacks. Come on, Pittsburgh. Dude, take a guard. Please take a center.
Yeah, for what it's worth, at
Yeah.
least. I mean, Arthur Smith, who knows what they're going to end up doing there.
They're going to just run the ball 47 times now that he's out of Atlanta.
But I do think the big thing is, like most people will say, is the age. He's got like 8 years of college.
Yeah,
like,
him and Bo Nix are like 24 and 25, or they'll be 24 and 25 when they play their first season. So that's pretty old. But it's a little bit older of a class compared to normal because Caleb's a little bit older, Jaden Daniels is older, McCarthy and Drake May are your babies.
Yeah, and when you look at the last 2 years and his stats, very, very solid. So yeah, I do like him kind of in that next tier of, because we're gonna see probably at least 4, maybe 5 in the first 10 picks easily, right?
I'll guarantee 4 in the first 11 picks. I will guarantee 4 in the first 11.
Yeah, for sure. Which is exciting, because I mean, I feel like the last draft class this really happened in is like
it didn't go well. It was the Trevor Lawrence. I think it was Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance.
Yeah, which was the Josh. Was that the Josh Allen year?
No. That was the one prior. That was the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold.
Oh, I don't know why I get those two mixed up.
Because the Jets picked at the top of the draft and missed.
That's right. That's right.
There you go.
That's right. So yeah, I mean, it'll be an exciting draft night for sure, and definitely will be a lot of fantasy implications coming out of this one. So, I do have to mention that I've been sniped twice now. Wanted Devonta Smith at the 4.8. Go with the second running back and Cook, thinking that maybe I can get Christian Kirk at the 5.5, but I should have known better because everyone knows that I will always be a Christian Kirk supporter. So
you can't have too many guys you like on your team. You already got White. You can't. I know. White Kirk says it's too predictable. You got to change it up a little bit.
I will draft Rachaad White however early I need to. It will never change. I mean, it's looking like a lot of the guys that I really like last year I'm going to like this year as well, which isn't anything crazy. But I'm kind of torn here if I want to snag up another running back or go receiver. And I think I'm going to go receiver here. There's a couple of names I like. I mean, I'm fine with going with Rome here. I'm okay with Terry. But I kind of like the upside and touchdown upside of Jaden Reed. So I'm going to go with him.
Good. Spoiler alert. Don't draft. I would not draft Rome currently.
Because of where
he may or may not be going to the Giants.
Yeah.
He's been linked pretty strong to him.
I mean, I don't want any part of the Giants offense. I guess that's fair. All right, let's see if I can get caught up in the chat here. JJQB2 if he goes to mini. So Kat says Rattler is underrated.
Overrated. I don't think Rattler's very good. I watched him in the SEC all the time. South Carolina wasn't very good. Nothing jumps off the page. I mean, he had a good week at the Senior Bowl, but he's just kind of mediocre. He was mediocre in the SEC. That's kind of the gold standard for me. Are you even good? You have to be good in the SEC. SEC quarterbacks really aren't great in the NFL, but the guys who are like, Jalen Hurts was really good in the SEC. Tua was good in the SEC. Dak was really good in the SEC, and we saw Dak have a lot of success. So Rattler, he's kind of a letdown. I didn't hear great things about him when he was at Oklahoma. Now that was a while ago. He could have matured a little bit, but I had some I have some connections to the Oklahoma program, and it was not great with him. Not high on Rattler at all.
Because he's kind of right in that same kind of next tier, so to speak, of quarterback.
I would call him even the last tier. Like he's not even, he's going to be the end of the second round, third round kind of guys. Him, it's kind of all over the place. Some people like Pryor, the guy out of Tulane, a lot. He's kind of a big quarterback build. Yeah, I haven't even been super focused on that because I know we're taking a quarterback in the first round probably. So I've been really digging in on those top 5 guys, top 6.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be interesting because that kind of next tier of quarterbacks, you could really see 1 or 2 of those guys fall like late in the draft. It is just historically what usually ends up happening is teams will end up passing on those later tier quarterbacks, and we'll just see like random linebackers and DBs and linemen get taken that we're not expecting. But in terms of like rookie drafts for dynasty leagues, there's definitely a little bit of there's more to pull from than last year for sure, especially at the quarterback position. What's going on, Senior Cinnabon? Good to see you, bro. Yeah, Perk making some. I also really like Isaiah Pacheco in that same kind of draft area. So good picks tonight, man.
What about things have changed on our boy Rashee Rice also. I would like to rescind my statement I have made. I do not think Rashee Rice is going to play over half the games next year. He's in real trouble. He is in real trouble.
Yeah, things. I mean, the one thing that keeps me like optimistic, for lack of a better term, is like he's Patrick Mahomes' like number 1 wide receiver, for not including the tight end position, and maybe the league like.
I mean, he got charged with 2 felonies.
Oh, I know.
It's not good. And
not good.
He's getting sued for $1 million. It's a really bad look that he left the scene of the crime. Now, one of the charges is kind of BS. Like, they first reported there weren't any injuries on the scene, and now they're saying there was a major injury and someone's suing him. So it's kind of like, oh, a lawyer got a hold of this person. They know who it is. But
sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL dropped an 8-game hammer on him just because it's an optics league at this point. If this was, 2012, 13, they wouldn't care. He wouldn't even get a game. He wouldn't even get a game back then. Sure. We got Greg Hardy doing crazy things. He's not even getting suspended. It was the Wild West over there in those days. But nowadays, they're very much on their optics. So Rashee Rice, very worried about moving forward.
So, how high are you on Hollywood Brown?
I'm okay. I want to see what receiver they draft at the end of the first round. I think that kind of will play a big part in it because they have Hollywood, but they've been linked to another burner in Xavier Worthy out of Texas. And I think that could be really, really open things up for Hollywood then, or even open it up for Worthy. Because if they go with 2 burners and just run 2 go routes, and it's like, go cover us. Well, so Mahomes will fit a ball into somebody in one-on-one coverage. So,
and like
go ahead.
Well, the big thing from like last year too is like we finally got like actual proof that Mahomes and a rookie wide receiver can like work out, and we're not going to get like another Sky Moore situation. So I definitely think if and when, which they probably will draft a wide receiver in the first, maybe second, there's definitely going to be viable fantasy outcomes from that for sure. So we'll see who it is, but yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Just get a lot of speed on that offense and see, like Mahomes when he used to chuck it up to Tyreek Hill. It's like we just haven't seen that. It's like there's just nothing quite like it.
They've been the dink and dunk Chiefs for the last 2 years because teams haven't let them do that. And if Rice doesn't get like a big suspension and they do go like double burners and Rice is fast. He just doesn't run those deep routes. He runs that short, quick stuff. Like that's a lot to handle. Travis Kelce, old man, can just lumber down to 12 yards and run a curl and just hit him in the chest while everyone else is running around him. So that's a big decision for the Chiefs coming up.
All right, I'm gonna make a draft pick for you.
Are you going JA?
Yeah. How do you feel about Addison? Because like at this point in the draft, it's like I want to go wide receiver. Um, and I don't love the situation for Addison, but I still believe in the talent of Jordan Addison.
I
So
I mean, it's not that bad. You'd have to look at what Addison did without Jefferson and Cousins, because I
yeah,
still think Addison was okay during that stretch. So, and if Jefferson back, he's obviously going to be okay.
sure.
They probably need another wide receiver. They re-signed Brandon Powell, but I still think he's good. Sam Darnold's not. I mean, people keep gassing me up on Sam Darnold, and I'm gonna eventually have to fall into it if he's gonna be our guy. But our offense is good. Our offense, KOC knows how to get our guys the football, and no Hawkinson for like the first 8 weeks. So it's one less mouth to feed.
And I can't forget that, like the mock we did the other week when I took. But that's
Hawk,
a
yeah,
great
he
point.
took.
He's still going to be like he's going to be a good number 2 wide receiver, regardless of who's throwing them the football, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes, like, I mean, even though you got JJ there, who's like with JJ there when he's playing, he's the guy, right? But it's like,
Oh, I missed my pick.
oh dang it,
No,
you got
I missed my
Prescott.
pick. Oh, Dak.
It's okay. He was like the
Sorry.
QB2 last year or whatever,
Uh,
Um, but yeah, I kind of like Jordan Addison in this range. I do like the rest of the Packers wide receivers, but I don't want to double up. Like I already got Jaden Reed, so um, I like Addison right there. All right, little bunny hop, what's up, dude? Great to see you. Thank you so much for the super chat, John. I love and miss you. Love and miss you too, bro. Keep $5 and buy your daughter some ice cream with the rest. P.S. I'm still keeping Tank Dell. Let's go, baby. Love it. Appreciate the
tank.
super chat, and I will buy my daughter some ice cream this weekend for sure. Very, very
It's not.
kind to you. You the man.
No, you got to save that and buy me ice cream. It's not fair.
My daughter doesn't actually like ice cream, but I'll try. I'll give her a new flavor. She doesn't like sweets for whatever reason.
Oh, that's good.
It is a good thing. Yeah.
I can only imagine young kids with sweets. Pain.
Let's see here. All right. So Aquamarine has a question. Should I trade CD for JJ and Dynasty? Concern Prescott's going to leave next year. This is interesting because a year ago, like it's so crazy how things like change so swiftly. It's like you would have never been able to trade like as high as a lot of people were on CDs. Like CD for JJ straight up would have been like blasphemy. So this is interesting though, because it's like if your reasoning is you're concerned about Prescott not being there, who exactly do you think is going to be there for Justin Jefferson that is going to be so much better than a potential quarterback that the Cowboys are going to have?
I think
This
the lodge. Well, if Jefferson could leave, if we
okay,
don't
that's fair.
re-sign him, Jefferson leaves, and any quarterback we draft, if we draft a quarterback in the first round, it's better than whatever the Cowboys situation is if they let Dak leave, because they're not going to be bad enough to have a good pick next year. And is Cooper Rush their backup? I mean,
Yeah.
that's cool, I guess. I don't know.
This is I really think in this situation, I think it's a good point. Like, JJ's not there. Like, what type of situation does he walk into? But I think you really have to look at both wide receivers here and who do you personally like better, which is a really tough question because this is definitely one of those things where it's like you're very like conditioned to like Justin Jefferson is the guy, right? I mean, he's not going as the first wide receiver off the board currently, but if it wasn't for the quarterback situation and or his health right now, it's like, would he be going? It's definitely up for debate. So, and even I think that tier of wide receivers right there at the beginning is debatable. It always is, right? So, it's just close. And I think the other interesting thing is we're coming off of CeeDee Lamb being the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy last year, and I don't want to say a down year for JJ, but a year where he was hurt and then had, crappy quarterback play after Cousins went down. So that's the thing is, recency bias comes into play too. So, This is close. Chat, let us know. Straight up in Dynasty, CeeDee Lamb or JJ. Because sometimes I fall into recency bias, because right now I kind of lean CeeDee.
I'm worried about CeeDee being a knucklehead though. Like
Yeah.
he's holding out his contract. Like you had one good like CeeDee, you were okay, and then you had a great year last year. And you're acting like you've done what Justin Jefferson has done for his entirety of his career. And Jefferson is not complaining about his contract whatsoever.
Because CeeDee goes wide receiver 22, 19, wide receiver 5, wide receiver 1. That's the last 4 years. JJ, wide receiver 6, wide receiver 4, wide receiver 1, then wide receiver 33 playing in 10 games last year, and then quarterback issues, right? So
and he was like clearly wide receiver 1 before he got hurt. He was on an insane tear the first 4 weeks of the season.
Because it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I kind of lean CeeDee initially, but I really feel like the better situation is JJ. Like long term, it's got to be JJ, right? So I would say I probably lean. I changed my mind here. I'm going to lean going JJ here, but it is close.
And again, the worst case scenario is JJ hits the market or he gets traded to somebody, and that's going to be a team with a good team. That's going to be a team with a good quarterback. Nobody with a bad quarterback is going to trade for Justin Jefferson or sign Justin Jefferson.
On top of that, too, it's like what's really like the long-term collateral damage here is like you either have JJ or CeeDee Lamb, so it's not going to like destroy your dynasty roster or anything like that, in my opinion.
Unless somebody, career-ending injury for somebody and it's a disaster, but that's the risk we take.
That's fair. Emil says Rashee Rice will be fine. We'll certainly see. Money talks. I mean, I think that's a fair point. Like, I mean, we got a lot of
he's not going to jail. No. He's gonna get suspended.
Yeah.
Roger Goodell doesn't care about money.
Yeah, and we've got plenty of off season left, so in terms of like redraft, it's like that ADP and Hollywood's ADP, it's just gonna flip flop based on whatever news we have or don't have, and we'll see what happens. Emil asks, what I want to know is, what do y'all think of the Texans wide receiver? So we've talked about this like every time we've mock drafted,
I drafted one.
Yeah. Like, so this is basically the order we're seeing them going, and around the same ADPs, give or take. But like, tonight we got Nico Collins at the 2-4, Diggs goes at the 2-7, Tank Dell at the 3-10. So I love all these guys. I think that, I mean, I always like the cheapest option. So like, I like Tank Dell the best because I think he's just going to be a great flex play throughout the season. But I'll take any of these guys. Like, I mean, this offense is going to be insane next year. So, I do think the interesting thing will be is, we've got Diggs kind of at an older age. You got Collins, who's had some injury history. Then Tank Dell, some injury history in his rookie season too. So I do think that there is some potential for, at times throughout the season, we're not going to see all three of these guys on the field. And don't rule out Dalton Schultz either, who I'm actually going to draft right here as my tight end 1. But he is going to be somewhat a part of this offense. And I don't know. I just think we're going to have times, and we saw it last year, where like Nico Collins was a bit more elevated and or Tank Dell was a bit more elevated because one or the other was injured. And I think we're going to have times throughout the year where, like, if you drafted Diggs maybe a little bit later and or you drafted Tank Dell a little bit later, you're going to be happy. But I also think there's a big potential for, if you went early on Nico Collins, that Dell and or Diggs will miss some time here. And I'm not even talking like extended time, but like just a game here or there. And it's the difficult thing, and we've talked about this too, is going to be really gauging, like, there's going to be weeks where some of these guys absolutely pop off, and there's going to be other weeks where they don't. There's just, this offense can be very good as long as everyone's healthy and CJ Stroud is healthy, which I think will happen. But the interesting thing is going to be, really how does that target share break down? And I mean, who does Stroud really prefer as like over the top guy, the red zone guy, the like consistent target guy? And it's like
it feels like you're playing Russian roulette with Stefon Diggs, though.
that's fair.
Diggs is the only one I would be concerned. Like, I don't have any worry about Nico. I don't have any worry about Tag. Diggs, yeah. I don't know. Now, Diggs could be a good, well-behaved boy and just take his role. And then I love him as a red zone threat to catch all the touchdowns just to keep him happy. And he's still a good route runner there. Yeah. But Diggs is the only one that gives me a little bit of scare.
Yeah, but I'm okay with drafting any of them. Like I like the little bit of risk, so to speak. Like I would love to throw Diggs in as my wide receiver, like in the flex throughout the season, and same with Tank Dell. And I mean, like I said, kind of where you're drafting like Diggs, like he's probably wide receiver 1 or 2, but that doesn't mean that he has to be played so throughout the season. So I mean, I think we're both all in on this offense, and I think as the season, our off season progresses, the ADP of all these guys is probably going to move up because there's going to be enough hype there. So, yeah, but like I keep saying, don't forget about Dalton Schultz. I think he's going to be good too. Nothing crazy, but like an easy top 12 tight end for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Try. So most people in the chat going with JJ. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement here. JJ over CD, long term in Dynasty. What's up, Real Gopher? I think Henry and Mixon are the RB steals I'm liking. Both top 10 potential outside the first 3 rounds. Yeah, I do really like where Derrick Henry's going. I mean, I understand that like the Ravens offense, like I mean, I just feel like at some point in Lamar Jackson's career, he's going to run less. And now with Derrick Henry there, it makes the most sense that he starts running less. But he's still going to run, and they're probably going to utilize another running back because it's the Ravens, But I'm all for Derrick Henry. Like he goes at the 4-2 tonight. I absolutely love where he's going. And we just talk all about the Texans offense. How do you feel about Joe Mixon? Like, I mean, tonight he goes at the 5.7. So in between Kamara, Kenneth Walker, and Aaron Jones. So pretty good value there.
He just, I don't know. Mixon kind of looked washed last year. Like he just didn't have it, as I like to say. He's, usually Mr. Solid. Yeah. But yeah, offense is going to be good. Houston was weird last year. Like Singletary had that crazy stretch where he was like busting off 150-yard games back-to-back weeks or whatever. So they definitely can run the ball and are okay with running the ball. They can't not be. It's a San Francisco-based offense. It's a Kyle Shanahan offense. They're going to run the football. So I think if he's healthy, I think there is a lot of opportunity there. But again, how many mouths? There's a lot of mouths to feed in Houston. And Joe Mixon, probably not going to be a diva at running back. Wide receivers, a little bit of divas. They're, maybe they want to go for CJ Stroud MVP and they want to throw more touchdowns than just taking on, running it in. So he's worried. And then, yeah, Henry, I like it. Lamar got to stop poaching touchdowns. But if Lamar stops poaching touchdowns, Henry's going to get all those touchdowns.
Yeah, and it's like crazy. Mixon's the RB6 last year and the RB10 the year before. And like, it doesn't really feel like it though. And it's like the year he was the RB10, he had that crazy game where he had like 55 points or whatever. But when you look at last year, it really doesn't feel like it, but he was like super solid actually. In terms of fantasy, right?
Yeah.
And even he missed some time the year before, and he had that game where he had 55 fantasy points. So that kind of elevated him to a top 10 finish, but he's been okay. But it's like he's an aging running back, and I do think that's a really interesting tier right there, like Kamara, Mixon, Walker, Jones, Connor. I feel like there's pretty decent value on all those guys, but I would really only be comfortable with them as like an RB3, but there's definitely potential for all those guys to be really solid RB2s. And I kind of lean towards Aaron Jones and James Conner, which I also like Kenneth Walker, but I'm a little iffy on my guy Kenneth, who was one of my favorite running backs to draft last season. I feel weird about that Seattle offense right now. It just feels kind of gross to me.
Yeah, we don't know who's quarterback. They finished really bad, but again, Baltimore defensive coordinator, maybe they bring in a Baltimore style offense, which is very running back favorable.
Oh man, I have no idea who to draft right here.
Daniel Jones.
Well, I need to go wide receiver. And I'll just go Demario Douglas. You're kind of like throwing a dart, at least at this point in time in the offseason. You got like Adam Thielen.
This guy's getting cut. This is your guy who's getting cut for your first waiver wire pickup, basically.
Which is always a fun pick. You know, it doesn't really hurt you, but maybe it really helps you, right?
Yeah.
I'll go Douglas. I mean, he looked very good at times last year, but who knows what that offense is going to look like. So, all right, let's see if I can get ahead here. Issue is the 310 needs to be better than a flex play. That's fair. Sometimes if you draft like wide receiver heavy, early on, then like you might end up with in the third round, you're getting your flex guy there, but that's fair. For a lot of drafts, probably won't go that way. Everyone needs to calm down on Tank. Coming off an ACL injury, third round is crazy.
I don't think it was an ACL. I thought it was just a broken leg.
Oh yeah, people addressing that too.
Yeah, it was a broken leg. That's why I'm feeling okay. If you break a bone, breaking bones, nothing.
I have broken a bone before.
I mean,
I was okay, but I don't play
compared to football. I mean, you don't want to be messing with those ligaments. Those stay forever.
Nick says, can't wait for a keeper league this year. Excited to run it back. Yeah, it was a broken fibula.
Okay, you'll be all right.
It did kind of feel like it was ACL, but maybe just to me and Ghost Hunter. So
I feel like that's how because nobody just breaks their leg. It's like, oh, they tore their knee, they dislocated their ankle. Like, it's football. Nobody ever is like, oh, he broke his arm, he's out. He broke his leg, he's out for the season. It was kind of late. I think if you broke it early in the season, he would have been back.
That's fair. Mixon's got to be the most start of the Texans. Doesn't need yards. Just get the goal line, punch it in like 20 times. That could. There's definitely potential there. Are y'all buying any of the Chargers running backs? I like Gus Edwards at his face value right now, but I think they might draft a running back too. So,
I mean, J.K. Dobbins was great. If he can ever stay healthy, he's been pretty good. He just never can stay healthy.
Is Dobbins on the Chargers?
Yeah, they signed him this week. They got both Ravens running backs. They signed him. Yeah, they signed Edwards and Dobbins this week.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I like that. But I like Edwards more for sure.
Yeah, obviously.
For sure.
But there's potential with Dobbins if he's ever healthy. We've seen it for like 2 games.
We have. All right, let's see here. Let's do some team reviews. So Taylor asking for the 1.1. All right, we got A-Rich and Kyler at quarterback. I like that combo a lot. I think Ferguson's a really good value at the 812. Completely fine with Fergie as your tight end 1. C-Mac, Mostart, Zamir White, and Gibson. I'm fine with this because you have C-Mac. So, as long as you find someone throughout the year, whether it's via trade, waiver wire, or one of these late round guys steps up for you, like, you should be fine. We got Marvin Harrison Jr., Pittman, Cooper, Flowers. I like that run. I like McConkey a lot. And I do feel slightly okay about Gabe Davis as your final wide receiver off the board. Like, we kind of talked about those dart throw wide receivers. It's like, he might disappoint you or he might be fun to have in the flex and maybe frustrating, but whatever. So you're starting A-Rich and or Kyler, then Fergie, C-Mac, let's say Mostart. I like the value on Zamir White there. Let's say you start Pittman and Cooper, then you can flex Marvin Harrison Jr. and Flowers, and you got some other options here in the flex as well. So I'll take it, Taylor. Looks fine to me. Let's see. Fun fact about the Mixon 50-point game that week: Justin Fields broke the single game quarterback rushing record. Good times when Justin Fields was relevant still. He might be. He's got dangerous in front of him. Do we like JJ or Amon-Ra first round more? Obviously, pre-draft the quarterback situation's iffy, but they say they stick with the room they have. Where do y'all like JJ? I probably still go JJ, but if you were to go Amon-Ra, I wouldn't hate you. I went Amon-Ra over Jamar Chase. I don't really mind either guy. Like, it's interesting because usually at that point in the draft, we're looking at running backs that are really close in terms of rankings. But I really feel like this year we got a lot of wide receivers really, really neck to neck here. CeeDee Lamb, Hill, JJ, St. Brown, Chase, and even to a degree Puka, really, really close. And a lot of the first round running backs I feel the same way about. It's not really till we get to like the 1.11 through the second round that we kind of have some disparity. It's really close throughout the beginning of the first round. So I would say I probably still go JJ. But it's close. All right, let me get caught up here. J-Dubs, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Thank you for gifting one membership to Nick. Nick, enjoy your 1 month free membership. All right, Cameron is at the 1.11. What's going on, Cameron? Okay, what we got here? We got Burrow at quarterback and Pitts at tight end. I will say I'm okay with Kyle Pitts this year. I'm okay. I don't want to go crazy high on his ADP, but I'm okay. That's where I'm at. I've been pretty historically out on Kyle Pitts outside of his rookie season, so that's a change for me, actually. Gibbs, Jacobs, Henry, and then we've got Jalen Wright, and then we've got Jaleel McLaughlin. Okay. I really like this running back trio: Gibbs, Jacobs, and Henry, like a lot. AJ Brown, Rome, Pickens. We got 2 more rookie receivers in Mitchell and Worthy, both out of Texas, and Curtis Samuel. I like Curtis Samuel a lot as a late round value. So some rookie upside here, but we're starting Burrow and Pitts, Gibbs and Jacobs, AJ Brown. Probably Pickens at wide receiver 2. Then you're probably flexing a running back. Then you're flexing one of your rookie wide receivers. Hopefully Rome is not with the Giants. He is. Maybe he's not. We'll see. So I can live with this team if you feel good about it. I'm okay with it. I like what you did at running back a lot, though. All right, Savvy Joe is at the 1.6. Purdy, I mean, I can't ever hate on Brock Purdy. He's my favorite quarterback ever. So I do think, in all seriousness, Purdy will be fine next year, but I really don't see him finishing. I think he'll be maybe closer to like a QB 10, QB 8, but we'll see. I think he's still fine where he's going in drafts for sure. Fine with Kincaid as your tight end 1. We got Breece Hall, Kamara, Najee, and Jalen Warren, and the Doodle himself. So I can live with this running back room. Diggs, Debo. I love the value of Devonta Smith as your wide receiver 3. I mean, I still really think Devonta Smith's just going to be like very solid in PPR, nothing crazy. But obviously, they just gave him the 3-year extension. Smart move by the team, but also like he's going to stay a part of this offense. So I love him as a wide receiver 3. I like Wicks where he got him. Judy's fine there. Quentin Johnston is like fine, I guess. He's probably going to be forced to be involved and either completely fizzle out or actually become part of this offense. So whatever. So you're starting Purdy and Kincaid, Breece Hall and Kamara, Diggs and Debo, flexing Devonta Smith. Like, I just love the fact that you can flex Devonta Smith. Then you've got, Pittsburgh's running backs, Wicks, Judy, Johnston, Doodle, some options there at flex. So looks solid to me, man. All right, Cats at the 1-2 tonight. We've got J-Lo and Njoku. Good value on both those guys. ETN, Pacheco, Chubb, Trey Benson, and then Audric Esteem. Am I saying that right? At running back.
Estime.
Estime. See?
Estime.
CeeDee Lamb, London Kirk, love that. Deontay Johnson, love that. Jacoby Myers, and then we've got Pearsall out of Florida as well. So Cats definitely taking some rookies. Doesn't surprise me. We're starting J-Lo and Njoku, Etienne and Pacheco, then Lamb, London, Kirk, Johnson. So I really like your core team here, and then going with some rookie upside there, and Jacoby Myers, and you got Nick Chubb. Let's not discredit Nick Chubb completely. But I really like the core roster here a lot, actually. A lot of good value through the first couple rounds of this draft, so I like it. All right, Emil's got his hand raised. What's up, Emil? At the 112 tonight. All right, so Stroud at the 6.1 feels like pretty solid. I think we're going to be happy because for now, but as the offseason goes on, I don't know if we're getting Stroud in the 6th round, but
yeah, he's going to fly up the board. So we've talked about this.
Kelsey is at the 312, which is okay. I mean, I'm not out on Kelsey. I just don't know. I just don't draft tight ends early. Like I don't know I don't other than Underdog in like best ball drafts. I'm not own Travis Kelsey in like any redraft or dynasty. But anyways, that's just me. So if you want to go tight end early, that's fine. We've got Kyron, Connor, Brian Robinson, Singletary, and Gus. I'm fine with that. We got Garrett Wilson, Waddle, Sutton, Lockett, Cooks, Thielen. So I'm fine with this team. I mean, a little bit veteran-esque, but I'll take it. Starting Stroud and Kelsey, Kyron and Connor, Garrett Wilson and Waddle, then flex. I mean, really, you could flex any two of whoever's playing the best out of everyone you have left. You have some options via trade potentially, and you have some options to drop players, and pick up other players on the waiver wire. So I'm okay with this team, Emil. It feels like it has good depth. We're actually going like wide receiver, quarterback relatively early. It feels like you made out okay. And yeah, I like some of the late round running backs you got there. So I'm good with it. J Dubs, what's up, dude? All right, Jalen Hurts. I have nothing bad to say there. We got Brock Bowers at tight end. Landing spot's going to be big here, but he's probably going to be fine to go ahead and start right away. Let's hope. This depends on where he goes. Pollard, Javonte, Chase Brown, Brooks, and Lloyd. So kind of late round running back option here. Pollard as your RB1 essentially is a little scary. I like him where he's going, but I don't love him as my RB1. But wide receiver heavy here. Tyreek Hill, Ayuk, Neighbors, Higgins. Then we go Thomas and Wilson late in the draft. So interesting build. I mean, I like Javonte as RB2. So you're basically going Hurts, Bowers, Pollard, Javonte, Hill, Ayuk, flexing Higgins, and probably flexing Malik Neighbors, right? So I'm okay with this build, but you are heavy on the rookies, which is okay, but in redraft, I don't necessarily prefer it. So, but J Dubs is going to go out and get his guys. I don't really have anything against that. So I've seen him win enough in fantasy that I'm okay with it. And that goes for most of you guys drafting tonight. So, all right, Box and the Jacks at the 1-7. We got Captain, you like that, Kirk Cousins now with the Atlanta Falcons and not with the Minnesota Vikings.
I heard he's tearing his ACL again. I don't know, his other knee.
And we got Jared Goff. I can take that for a late round QB build for sure. Trey McBride at tight end. I'm good at that. A-Chain, Mixon, Swift, Moss, Mitchell. I like this running back room a lot, man. Chase Evans, Hollywood, JSN, Dotson. A little light at wide receiver. Like, it's kind of hard in those later rounds. If there's just no one better at wide receiver, just go running back is fine. But, maybe outside of one of those running backs or the double quarterback, maybe I go with another wide receiver. But you're starting, let's say, Cousins and McBride, Mixon and Swift, Mixon and A-Chain. you've got options there at running back. I like where you got Moss and Mitchell a lot, though. You're starting Chase and Evans, then you can flex Hollywood and or flex one of those running backs. Maybe flex JSN or Dotson if they're showing enough. So you got options at the flex, good running back room. I think this team looks fine to me. All right, let's see. Taylor Gang, what's up, bro? Yeah, we're riding with Kyle Pitts here. Falcons players are doomed to fail with how highly everyone is inflating them. That's fine. Yeah, like if Pitt starts to go too early, I'm not there. I'm not there. I think London's a tad overvalued. I prefer him early fourth. Yeah, I mean, he's going early. PPR, I'm okay with him, but I do prefer him as a wide receiver too. Let's see. Lots of debate about Kirk in the chat. What's up, John Edwards? Good to see you, bro. Where's everybody picking to draft if given first option? I never care about this. I try not to get too caught up in draft position, but I do prefer later rounds or later picks in the first round, generally speaking. Okay, let's see.
5 through 8 is kind of sweet spot, I think, for me. I like the middle. Like, I can float in the middle. I have a lot of flexibility. You kind of get pigeonholed when you're at the back end or front end of the draft.
I like end of the first, usually, year to year. But I don't really care. I would draft from anywhere. Okay, we're all caught up here. Chat looks very active. Good to see everyone out here tonight. Let's take a look at Pete's team, then my team, and then we'll wrap up for the night.
Bad. My team was bad. I had a plan, and then everybody took all those running backs right before my second pick.
What did you do? So you got auto-drafted Prescott in the 7th.
It's not the worst in the 7th.
And we're still drafting.
Vibes. We need it. Need it.
We're still drafting Drake May all day long. You went early tight end tonight. How'd you feel about that?
I like that. I think Sam Laporta is going to have a big year. I think the Lions are going to go. He was really good last year. Tight ends are a real pain in the ass to cover in the NFL. Smash mouth football. I like Sam Laporta a lot here. I wasn't comfortable going Kelsey there. I just think Sam Laporta is going to be your tight end 1 this year.
Okay, if you're good, I'm good. So Bijan Jones, Chuba Charb. So I actually really like Chuba in the 10th. I don't hate your running back room. I mean, you got your RB1, your RB2, then you got 2 guys who can be viable options from the bench. I'm okay.
I don't love it.
Nico, DK, McLaurin, Dobbs, Williams, Shaheed. Pretty decent. I'm okay with your team. You never like your team.
I some teams I do like. Like last year, I texted you. I was like, I really like this team, and I lost and I got 3rd place when I was like, I really like this team, and just because I ran into somebody. I want to say somebody had dropped a 40 bomb on me in the semifinal. So some teams I do like. I like my wide receiver room. DK scares me. DK, another knucklehead. I don't like drafting guys who are knuckleheads. So, yeah, they're good at football, but they also could lose it. I think Scary Terry's a steal. I like whoever quarterback. If they draft Jane Daniels, Terry's getting the ball. And I like Cliff's offense. It's a good throwing offense that I think people aren't really valuing. I think last year, remember, there was kind of hype on the Washington wide receiver room. I think this year's the year where they all are kind of solid.
Yeah, I know. I like Terry in that range a lot. And I like Dotson where he's going. Admittedly, I was really high on Dotson last year, but I like giving him a chance again in the 10th round this year. So, yeah, I mean, you're starting Prescott, Laporta, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Nico, DK, McLaurin, then flexing probably Romeo Dobbs, but you have other options. So, and I mean, you got Drake May. Like, I mean, I like this team.
Vibes. Yeah. I have to will Drake May into it.
You have to. So I think it's actually a pretty good team. I'm okay with it. So Tucci asked from the 110. Mahomes and Caleb Williams. Ingram. Barkley, Blake Corum, Ford, Allen, Miller, Puka, Dell, Keenan Allen, Godwin, Hopkins. I mean, pretty solid here. It's still just tough with these rookie running backs. I mean, obviously Blake Corum, I think you'll probably be fine, but then you never know. Like when Zach Charbonnet went to the Seahawks last year, like his fantasy value kind of tanked a little bit. So you just don't know really. But it's fine for this point in the offseason. So we got Mahomes, Ingram, Barkley. And that's the thing. Like, who are you starting at RB2 out of these guys? And like landing spot matters. It's just kind of hard to say right now. But Puka, Dell, you're starting Allen or flexing Allen, I should say, then flexing Godwin, and you got D Hop on the bench. So yeah, I think the only issue here is like RB2. It's just kind of a question mark, which could be okay. You can rotate a guy behind Barkley as long as he stays healthy. So team looks pretty solid. It's just what are you going to do at RB2 is the only question you have to ask yourself. But team looks pretty good, man. I just want to make sure no one else wants a team review. Do you guys think Zach Charbonnet will get a chance?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably. I like where he's going in drafts, but Walker's still going to be involved. It's just like it's not a Pete Carroll offense anymore. All right, very quickly, let's roast my team. I went double quarterback. I got Tua and Trevor Lawrence. Late round quarterback build. I'll take those guys. I like Dalton Schultz. I wish Jake Ferguson was going a little bit later. He's who I really prefer tight end this year, but I like Schultz. We got Amon-Ra, DJ Moore, Jaden Reed, Jordan Addison, J-Mo, who I like as a late round pick. Pete does not like. And then Demario Douglas, my final wide receiver off the board. Running backs, I got Rashad White, James Cook, Monty, and I'm still taking Eckler as like a RB4. I don't know. I kind of like him.
He fits the offense. Like,
yeah,
he's gonna catch a lot of passes in that offense, I think.
I think sometimes if you just like a guy, you just take him. You don't really need a reason. But
I liked his running back room. I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
I think Cook's gonna have a big year. I think Cook is gonna have a big year.
I like Cook there. I like Pacheco. I was close to going Pacheco over Cook. I like Devonta Smith is who I wanted there. I like Christian Kirk. So I end up with Cook, and I'm okay with it. I'd be starting one of the two quarterbacks, Tua or Trevor. I'd be starting Schultz. I'd be starting White and Cook, Amon-Ra and DJ Moore. Then in the flex, like this is the type of team I like to build. I feel good about getting value at quarterback, value at tight end, my wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, RB1, RB2. And then in the flex, I have options: Jaden Reed, Monty, Addison, Eckler, J-Mo, maybe Douglas. So yeah, I feel good about this team. And at this point in the offseason, I'd be happy with this team. So J-Dub's asking draft of the night. I really like Taylor's team. I think you got good value quarterback, good value tight end, good enough wide receivers, and then you get C-Max, so you have a lot of value there. The big question is kind of what would happen at RB2 here, but I think with the value that C-Mac brings to the board, it'd probably be okay. So, I mean, A-Rich or Kyler, Ferguson, great value there. C-Mac, Mostert might be okay again. A lot of people rolling Mostert out. He could be just fine. But then Pittman, Cooper, Flowers, Harrison Jr., I really like the wide receiver room here as well and the value there, especially drafting from the 1.1. So I will go with Taylor's team out of the teams that we reviewed.
And he's got it. I like the double stack there. He can go A-Rich and Pittman, and Marvin Harrison's probably going to Arizona, so they can run Harrison and Kyler.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll go with Taylor's team tonight. But everyone drafted very well. Per usual. All right, let's see. I'm gonna stream on John's account and play Pikmin 4. Go for it. You can do whatever you want. Send a bun. You've been running the Discord long enough. You have full closure. Getting Eckler's your RB4. Let John cook. Let's go. I'm out on Washington's backfield. No offense. Maybe B-Rob. I mean, hey, let me draft the Washington players, and because I grew up a Washington fan, and they can disappoint me and not you guys. But I do agree. I think B-Rob's going to be involved, and I like where B-Rob's going to. So I just think there's a little bit of upside involved with Eckler. And, like Pete was saying, it's a Cliff offense. As a RB4, I'm definitely okay with Eckler there. So, but I'm also okay with going B-Rob late too. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we just hit the hour mark. It's time to wrap up for the night. So, another great mock. We'll be back tomorrow, is the plan as of right now. And thank you guys for drafting with us. Lots of good discussion tonight. Will be another day closer to the NFL draft tomorrow. And thank you guys for hanging out and talking fantasy as always. Pete, I will let you sign off and then we will get out of here.
Pleasure as always. We'll be back again tomorrow, it sounds like, doing this again. If you guys are interested in the real draft, check me out after the review sports, dropping my mock draft tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, going through the entire first round. So, yeah, check it out if you're interested in real draft stuff. See you as always.
Pete, I am going to drop your link in the chat. Almost to 3,000 subscribers.
We're close. We're getting there.
Close. We'll get there. All right, there's Pete's draft, or Pete's link. Draft tomorrow.
Draft tomorrow.
There we go. John, have a blessed evening as well. Jada was asking if you're streaming the draft. Oh, I don't know what night is the draft? It's Thursday.
Yep, Thursday.
Maybe I'll be around with Pete, but I think Pete's streaming on your channel.
Yep, I'll be streaming on Thursday for the entire first round, all 3-4 hours. Maybe it'll be a great time because Drake May's in purple, or maybe you guys are gonna have to talk me off the ledge because JJ McCarthy is in purple.
We will see what I'm up to. John, check out my trades in Dynasty Leagues. I need to really look at all your guys' trades. I just haven't been able to process them in my mind. But all right, guys. We love you guys. Love the catch, fam. We'll talk soon. So thanks for streaming and hanging out, Pete. And thank you guys for drafting with us and talking fantasy. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the catch. And peace.